Hello and welcome to the Global Electronics Report. This is the first of our weekly program that we're going to have to discuss various topics affecting electronics manufacturing across the world. The topic today, of course, is Brexit, and my guest is Keith Bryant, who is chairman of the SMART Group. Welcome, Keith.
Thank you, Trevor.
Now, what do you call it? There's a lot of things happening with this Brexit, and it's caused a lot of disruption, not only across Europe, but across global markets. Can you give us an update of where we're standing at the moment?
Okay, well, the personal viewpoint from the, let us say, the politics of the situation. I'm sure everyone is aware that what happened with Mr. Johnson and Mr. Grove, a little bit like Richard III. But I think, to be honest, the big problem was everyone, including the people that voted for Brexit, were expecting the Prime Minister to stay on and negotiate at least the first part of the exit. That was the plan. You know, the Leave campaign had all written to the Prime Minister asking him to stay on afterwards, regardless of the result. And I think it was a big shock and a disappointment to everyone when he left.
Yes, I think it's definitely been the biggest disappointment of this campaign.
And again, I don't know, and until the memoirs get written, we never know if it was a little bit of a retaliation to Mr. Grove and Boris taking the other side. Because the four of them, and if we include George Osborne in it, they were sort of friends from childhood, and their families are or at least were very close to each other.
Okay.
And, this is pretty much a nuclear fallout of the old boys' club.
Right. So where are we standing now? I mean, it looks like Theresa May is pretty much a shoe-in for the Prime Minister slot, but she was part of the old Remain campaign, wasn't she?
Exactly. So we have a Prime Minister who had all the contacts with Europe, the history of dealing and negotiating with Europe, leaving because he backed the wrong horse, and he's going to be replaced as late as early September by a lady who doesn't have that level of experience and is also backing the wrong horse. So it seems a little bit strange that we're going to be probably led out of Europe by somebody who wanted us to stay there, and as recently as a couple of weeks ago was making statements which were exactly the same as she was making when she was campaigning to remain. Namely that European citizens in the UK maybe aren't safe, and UK citizens in Europe maybe aren't safe to remain where they are. And, that's a huge sort of tidal wave in both directions.
Well, sorry, but that's not really true, is it? Because, I mean, her first job as Prime Minister, assuming she's elected, is going to be to invoke Article 50, which begins the process of leaving the European Union. But that could be up to a 2-year process. So that surely doesn't affect any of the existing legislation or treaties regarding the movement of people, etc.
Exactly right, and we're still trying to understand. I mean, as the UK at the moment, we don't even know who we're supposed to negotiate with. We have one group, which is the European Union, which is if you like, the politicking people who are the ones who started by saying we want the UK to leave as soon as possible, they're not going to get any favours, we're going to be tough with them and everything else. And then also we have the Council of Europe, which is the main body, if you like, from Brussels, and they're saying, well, we all have to work together, our futures are still going to be entwined whatever happens.
Right.
So if you look at those two diametric views, and then the fact that we don't really know what's going to happen, we hear there's a group of lawyers who are going to fight to stop the Article 50 being enshrined into UK law, which is the first thing we have to do before we invoke it. And then we also hear that the main person who was behind the funding of the Leave campaign is actually starting a new political party to ensure that we do invoke Article 50 and we do leave as soon as possible.
So is this going to be potentially another contender? Well, I guess it's not. It's the election's Conservative election, because they're the ruling party. But do you think that Theresa May might hold a general election after she's elected?
Well, that's what some people are saying, that, you know, she wants to put her stamp on everything. So if she wins, then she would call an election to prove that she has the support of the country.
Right.
And, you know, given the fact that we have a leader of the Labour Party who is hanging on despite a huge vote of no confidence, and despite almost everyone in his front bench resigning so they can run against him, and he still says that, you know, he has the voice and the support of the party.
Right. Well, Jeremy Corbyn, to be fair, is a little bit like Bernie Sanders over here in the United States. He's the extreme left-wing candidate. So I don't think he's that credible, really, at the end of the day.
No, but, you know, he is head of the Labour Party and controls a huge block vote from the unions. So, you know, there is still a potential. But no, you know, the business people have got it much more sorted than the politicians, Trevor, to be honest with you.
Well, the business, that usually happens. You know, business industry usually moves ahead of government anyway, or, you know, trade associations. You know, government legislation and standards and all these types of things tend to follow industry rather than the other way around. So let's move on to actually the ramifications for the electronics industry. I mean, what do you think this vote's going to mean, for example, for EMS companies selling products into Europe?
Well, it gives us a lower price versus the euro. And it's doing that, in fact, not within Europe, but in a global market, not only with EMS companies, but with global companies who have manufacturing within the UK. Well, we're already hearing of several American companies who are looking to bring more work into the UK because it is becoming a lower cost manufacturing site. And yeah, the OEM companies who manufacture equipment here, you know, if most of it is indigenous manufactured rather than parts purchased from Europe, then this also, in theory, gives an advantage in the short to medium term, because the medium term predictions of the pound is still going to be lower than it was before Brexit, both against the dollar and against the euro. But it is going to be relatively stable.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. So we have a lower pound, and I think there's also going to be potentially a tax incentive as well for manufacturers to manufacture here. But what about the other side? What about the supply chain of materials coming into the country? Is that likely to be impacted?
Well, it is going to be relative to the pound more expensive. I mean, a lot of people who sell into Europe sell it in the euro. So effectively they're going to be buying components, whatever, in euros and selling out into the euros. So it's going to balance itself, and the cost of manufacture is maybe going to be a little bit lower. And yeah, the Chancellor announcing that he's going to have a rate of 15% corporation tax is going to make a huge difference, because I think that makes us one of the three lowest in what I would call the developed manufacturing world. So, you know, in theory, that's going to bring itself in an influx of business, or an influx from the global multinationals, maybe even setting up here.
Right. Okay. So here's one of the questions that's on a lot of people's lips, and that is, what's going to happen about a lot of the EU regulation that we've been subjected to over the last few years? I mean, the most notable one being RoHS. Are British companies still going to have to comply with RoHS, do you think?
Well, I will refer to the answer given to me by a member of our technical committee who is much stronger in this than I am. And basically, all current regulations will still apply if we want to sell goods into Europe. So RoHS, we in REACH stayed, for example, as with the EMC, the LVD and the ELV, putting a CE mark on things, and no, we can't go back to tin lead.
Right. Okay. Well, I think that again falls into what we were talking about earlier. That is that this Article 50 is going to take is a 2-year project, a process. After that, then I guess everything else is going to be negotiable. It's going to be up to the UK government to either ratify all the legislation that they've adopted through the EU, or to, in some cases, renegotiate it.
Well, I don't think there's going to be much renegotiation, Trevor, to be honest with you. REACH is one of the more complex ones, because that applies all across the European Union, but it's not actually in member state national law.
Right.
So if we are no longer part of the EU, then we'd have to put the entire REACH regulation text into the UK law book.
Right.
Or in theory, we wouldn't be able to export goods to the EU or work with the ECHA from outside the EU. Right. That would be another option, would be to just tie up with the European Chemicals Authority for the REACH regulation.
Okay.
But that is the sticky one, whereas all the others are pretty much a shoe-in and business as usual.
Right, okay. Yeah, I
mean, the question comes with legislation which is still to come out of Europe, or amendments that are made to European legislation, and how we handle them and cut them into our process.
Right, exactly. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. Okay, with the new focus on attracting immigration to the UK from people who are higher qualified rather than people that just by their geography, do you think that's going to be a plus side for the high-tech sector here in the UK?
If that is something that is agreed upon, then yes. It is obviously going to make a difference, because if we are going to get an influx of companies who want to set up here, we're in to be very frank, we're in a sad state for engineers. It's hard enough for the people that are already manufacturing here to find process engineers, quality engineers, technologists, and people at that level.
Right.
And the people at the higher end, dare I say it, are all getting a little bit long in the tooth, like myself and quite a few others, because they've been in the game a long time. And we haven't, we lost a lot of the manufacturing 15, 18 years ago. So we haven't had people coming through who are basically, starting off at the lower end jobs, and then basically educating and upskilling themselves through the companies and raising up to higher levels. So you've got very few. So yes, we are going to need skilled engineers, technicians, this kind of thing, and probably also people that sit in the middle.
Right. But presumably with the new immigration legislation that the UK has been trying to achieve, and that was a big part of the campaign after all, it should be easier for British companies to bring in higher qualified immigrants from other countries.
Yeah, I mean, a few people are saying that we will move towards what I would call the Australian system. Where you have to have a job, you have to prove that you have the ability to do it, you have to have somewhere to live, you have to have, all the things effectively to tick the boxes.
Yeah.
And yes, in that situation, it will make a lot of a difference.
Right. Okay.
But it is going to be something that is going to be necessary if our manufacturing industry, and not just in the electronics, is actually going to go back to where it should be. Because medium, light, medium, even heavy engineering, it's all wasted away over the last 15, 20 years. If you look from electronics manufacturing to shipbuilding, everything has taken a pounding in that time.
That's true. That's true. Well, you know, maybe it's time to bring some of the manufacturing back. But what about the financial side? Because up until now, the UK has relied very heavily on the financial community. Do you think that's under threat?
I think the people who gamble with our currency and the people who make large investments will go wherever the money is. You know, there's a current movement where the UK stock exchange is going to join the German stock exchange, and there's a debate as to whether the centre should be in Germany or it should be in the UK. That swung after Brexit. The knee-jerk reaction was for it to swing towards Germany, but a lot of the larger global investors have said they would rather have something that was still independent from the euro, which was one of the advantages that the UK has always had. Yeah, and obviously if they go to Germany, then they're going to be, you know, using the euro as a base currency, whereas here, you know, we're still sticking with the pound.
Yeah, okay. So one last question, Keith, and this is regarding the, you know, historically the UK and Germany did all the heavy lifting financially for the European Union. What's your opinion? Do you think Germany can hold up the Union as it stands at the moment on its own?
I don't think Germany can hold it up on its own, and yet, you know, we were the number 2 net contributor, and I think number 20 something in getting money back.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you do the math, then there was a huge amount of money going in to support Europe, and taking the UK out of it isn't really taking out a large drain on the EU finances. I think there's going to have to be some form of restructuring as they go forwards. But exactly how that's going to work and what it is, you know, it's already a very complex mechanism. It's going to be made more complex by losing its second largest contributor and still wanting to do all the things that it does. But, you know, there is an argument that says, you know, we may well have to still do some funding within Europe in some way, and remain loosely linked to the European Union, at least commercially.
Well, I think, you know, the funding is probably not going to stop from the UK side until Article 50 is completed, which again could be up to a 2-year process.
Could be 2 years. It could be longer. I mean, it took Greenland 3 years to escape from what effectively wasn't the EU, but just the EU and Norway, and the only thing they had to negotiate was fishing quotas. So, you know, if you look at that as a benchmark, then it's going to take us a bit longer. But, you know, we don't. The honest answer to it is, you know, the politicians don't even know who's going to be negotiating on our side and who we're going to be negotiating with. Right. So to actually try and make predictions in that kind of backdrop, you know, is completely impossible. But as the business is going on, and I spoke to a lot of people before I came on to be interviewed, and everybody says, well, it's business as usual until we hear otherwise. Right. You know, and if we're getting extra business because of the slight devaluation of the pound, then, you know, as far as they're concerned, that's a bonus. Yeah. You know, the Bank of England says they have 260 something billion to put behind the pound if they need to. So that reassures all the investors. That reassures the city. Right. So, you know, as I said, you know, business is pretty much saying, well, you know, if you want to come and open some factories, you want to expand the ones that you've got, then, you know, that's fine. You've got low corporation tax. You've got a relatively low but stable base currency to work in. As I say, the only issue that we have is labour. But if we can crack that one, then, you know, we have a pretty solid base. Right. And you know, I can't see the French putting huge import duties on what we do, because we'll do the same to them. And as I've already said, you know, we're the number 2 exporter for all the German farmers. I mean, those guys carry a lot of clout within Europe.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, and you did mention that there is a lowering of the corporate tax to corporation tax to 15% coming. You mentioned that earlier before we started the broadcast. Is that something that's in place at the moment, or is that something that's been promised?
It's been promised by the Chancellor, and he's generally pretty honest. Yeah, even though he was trying to remain, he's a realist, and he sees this as an opportunity, like a lot of us see it as an opportunity. And as I say, 15% corporation tax puts us amongst the lowest within the highly developed nations, shall we say? So, that's another reason to either bring in business, or for at least business to stay. And as you know, the large institutions like a low tax level.
Right, that's true. That's true. Well, Keith, I want to thank you very much for joining us today. This is going to be a one-week debate. It's going to be going on for months, if not years to come, and I'm sure we'll discuss it many, many more times. And I want to thank you for your obviously fairly in-depth knowledge of what's going on over there. Hope you enjoyed your first experience here on the Global Electronics Report, and look forward to catching up with you again in the future.
Yeah, maybe in 3 months or 6 months we can do it all again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.